see, where we left off last week was we had lists, right? Remember, in lists you can put anything inside. These just happen to be integers and strings. And we made our own max and min functions, just to go over how to make functions, how to use parameters, how to define your own functions, how to use for loops, if statements, how to return stuff. And then they work perfectly fine. But in Python, the great thing is there are so many built-in functions that you don't even have to write your own min or max functions. So in Python, there's two built-in functions, min and max. And when I say function, it's just, remember I'm saying function, and then later on I'm going to use another word called a method. And there is a difference between functions and methods, but they do very similar things. In fact, you can consider them the same. They're just different different names for separate like scenarios. You could put it that way. And I'll show you the difference, and you'll once you see the difference, you'll be able to recognize what is a method and what is a function. But like functions are the first thing you learn, and then methods are basically functions for objects, specifically for objects. So we have the min and max functions here, and if you guys want, if we want to just review how to use that, we'll comment this out. Alright, great. And then we can give some space here. Oh, here we go. So these are two functions that we're going to go over, and then here are the methods. These are all list methods, specific to the list object that we're gonna use just because it's super useful when you're working with lists. These these methods, and also because just to see the kind of the difference between a method and a function. All right, cool. So review how to use a function. You do max, and then parentheses means it's a function. It's like that in all coding languages. And then you can do list. You put inside a parameter. This is what it's called. And in this case, the parameter is our list that contains our integers here. So now x is being assigned to the maximum in the list. And then we can print out x. And then as you can see, we got 12 because 12 is indeed the maximum in that list. So that's quite simple, right? We just put you have the function name, you have the parentheses, and then you put the parameter inside whatever parameter you want. And as you guys know, when you're writing your own functions, you can change up the parameters, make the parameters whatever you want. But we are gonna go, and min is the same way. So if you, let me ask, if we want to find the second to largest object in a, or second to largest integer in a list, how would we do that? What is the easiest way to do that? Instead of having, say, one variable for the maximum, one variable for the second least, how would you do that? Very simply. That's fine. So if you find the maximum in the list, all right, you know what that maximum is. It's x, right? It's being assigned to x. In this case, it's 12. And if you know 12, all you have to do is remove 12 from this list. And then once you remove 12 from this list, you can call the max function again. And there you go. The new maximum is 10, which just happens to be, or doesn't happen. Obviously, it is the second largest integer in list. So to do that, you're going to have to remove 12 from the list to actually be able to do anything. You can't just like have that static list and call max twice on it. It's going to give you 12 12 again. So what you need to remove 12. So how do we do that? And this is where we get into list methods. And a method, whenever you hear that word, a method means it is a function that's called onto a object. And objects are, I'm going to go over objects in the future, an actual whole entire lesson on objects too, because they are really important in programming. There's something called object-oriented programming. If you guys know Java, it's pretty much everything, right? We haven't gotten into it yet, but we will eventually, because we had to go over the basics first So now we're going to be moving on to object-oriented programming. And what object-oriented programming is, if you think about an object in real life, an object could be anything. Like I'm talking into a microphone right now. I am a person. I'm an object that is a person, right? You guys are all people. You go to a school, which is an object. You drive cars, which are objects. So everything is an object, and all objects have specific attributes to them, right? Cars could be different colors, different types, SUV, sports car, minivan, right? And so they have attributes, and then they have things that they can do in like real life, right? Your microphone can listen to stuff. Your car transports you. Those are all things that they do. And if you want to translate that into coding terms, you can also have an object, and in this object you can create a bunch of, say you have what is called a class, and once you make a class, you can create a bunch of these objects, all different kinds of objects with different attributes. Like you can have a blue car, green car, yellow car, and then you can have these objects do things. You can create functions for these objects, and what those functions are called are methods, which is what I was talking about before. In this case, the list class is already done. Like Python, it comes built in, so you don't have to worry about making your own list class. But so you have a list object now, right? These are all list objects. Actually, pretty much everything is an object. Everything is an object, right? So list has specific functions tied to it called methods. These are list methods, and these are all of the list methods